Good morning. This is Marie from Idaho, Celtic Creek Trading Company. I'm going to show you how to make Idaho bread. It's really easy to do. Now, the very first thing I want to explain to you is that one of the main things that we're going to use in this is yeast. Now, yeast is wonderful for bread, but did you know that yeast is part of beer? The health benefits of beer include anti-cancer properties, a reduced risk of cardiovascular disease, increased bone density, the prevention of dementia, very important for all of us, in coronary disease, and for the digestive system, it helps that, as well as anti-aging properties. It treats diabetes, gallstones, kidney stones, osteoporosis, and hypertension. Now, this is not my idea. I just want some beer with my bread. This comes from organicfacts.net/health benefits. It also helps with stress and acts as a diuretic. Well, anyway, here we go. Okay, now, in order to make bread, like I said, you need to have yeast. The very first thing you want to do is you want to take a bowl, put it under the hot water, let it run for a couple of seconds, because in Idaho, it's very cold outside. Your yeast needs a warm environment in order to grow. Yeast is alive. So you warm up your bowl, then you take your water, which you're going to use a cup of water. This is filtered water, by the way. I like to make sure it's nice, clean water. You take your water, you throw it in your microwave. 1 minute, and it's good to go. Now, while we're waiting for that, what we will do is we'll take our warm bowl, empty it out, take your yeast packet, cut it on the dotted line. Now, it really doesn't matter what kind of yeast you use. I personally like rapid rise, but there's lots of different kinds of yeast. All you want to do is make sure that if it's not a rapid rising yeast, you let it rise as long as it takes. So you put your yeast in the bowl, grab a spoon, wait for 25 seconds and this will be ready. And we'll start dissolving our yeast. Yeast is very important to dissolve. Here's our warmed water. You don't want it really hot, you just want it warm. So you pour that into your bowl, and then you stir it around because you want your yeast to get dissolved. As you're stirring it, this would be a very good time to add some of the things that yeast likes, specifically sugar. So, this recipe calls for 1/2 tablespoons of sugar. Now, if you want to get a little generous with the sugar, fine, you can do that. I'm using 1/2 tablespoon plus a little more. Okay? That's your sugar. You also dissolve that into your yeast. Here we go. Now, another thing I dissolve into my yeast is the shortening. Now, some people use vegetable shortening, some people use, Western oil, that kind of awful stuff. I like to use olive oil. Olive oil is bad for you, and you really can't taste the olive oils in your bread. So, you want to pour yourself, oops, I guess that beer's working. Okay, you want to pour a tablespoon of olive oil into your yeast mixture. And while you're waiting for that to dissolve, you want to take another sip of your beer. Think yeast. It's very good. Some people believe it should be a food group, because if you think about it, it has cereal grains, it has hops, it has yeast, some of the stuff we're putting into our bread. Anyway, good beer. Okay, so you let this sit for a second, and then you want to put your dry ingredients into a big bowl. We're going to be putting 3 cups of flour into our dry ingredients. You could get a measuring cup, but you know what? Use a coffee cup. It really doesn't matter. As long as you measure it with these cups, you're okay. So we're going to use 3 cups of flour. Any kind of flour is good. I prefer bread flour just because they sift it a little bit. There's one. Now I get another one. 2. I know that's 4, but it's not really. That wasn't all the way full. Okay, so any old brand of bread flour would work. All right. Now, you want to add your salt. This recipe calls for 1/2 tablespoon of salt. I personally like to use garlic salt. And the reason is because I'm going to have a little Italian twist to this bread. I'm not Italian, I just think Italian bread is really good. So again, you know, you can be a little generous if you want to. Don't have to be that crazy with the exactness of it. Okay, so you do that. And now, we're going to have the fun part. We're going to take a yeast mixture and stir it again just to be sure nothing's left in the bottom of the bowl. Dump it into your dry ingredients and stir it around for a few minutes till it gets all wet. Now you'll be able to judge whether or not it's going to make good dough. And sometimes you might have to add a little extra liquid to it if it's too dry and vice versa. But after you get it fairly mixed, you want to wash your hands really good. Nobody wants to eat food that you had dirty hands in. I actually washed them before I started, so that's why I did it briefly. Okay, now roll up your sleeves, put your hands to work, and you want to mix your dough together. Now, you keep mixing it until you get it into a nicely formed ball. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. And this is good for anxiety. This is good for frustration. This is good for having a bad day and getting to work out any of your bad feelings. But you keep pushing down on your dough and mixing up until you get it just about right. And I think we're actually going to need to use a little bit more liquid, because this is kind of falling apart. If your dough is falling apart a little bit, what you want to do is just add a little bit of water, but you don't want to be crazy about it. So what I do when I have this happen is I just go ahead and add like a tablespoon more at a time until it's got something you can really work with. But you want to keep doing this. Now, we're going to be, as soon as we get this really well formed, we're going to give you another more tablespoon. There we go. Now, when it comes time to kneading our dough, they tell you a lot of places, well, go ahead and use flour and, you know, dust your counter with flour. That's really messy. I'm not a big fan of messy. So what I do, come on. I do as much as I can in the bowl till I get it in a semblance of a ball. Okay. And again, this takes a little bit of work at this part, but this is the most work you'll be doing through the whole process. I guarantee it. Okay, so you're gonna mash it down. All right, now just keep grinding it together. Okay, and pretty soon. Now, I do have a bread machine, and the bread machine does okay with this, but sometimes it's just nicer to do it yourself, especially if you're having a tough day, because then you can kind of really get into it here. Okay, now, I think I got a pretty good ball here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out of the bowl, and I'm going to move it around with my hands, get a nice ball going. And I have a little cutting board because I think it's much easier to do it this way than it is to actually put flour all over the kitchen, because nobody wants that. Now, you use your body, get into it, and you're going to knead your bread for 10 minutes. Don't cheat on this stage. You have to knead the bread. Bread needs to be kneaded. Yep, look. I need some more beer, but I can't. So, you're going to do this for 10 minutes. And so forth. And so forth. And you know, if you want to tell jokes or play a game, just think about what might make you really want to push down on this bread. So, with the magic of television, we've kneaded our bread for 10 minutes, and now we're going to flavor it. And we can flavor it with oregano, which I personally prefer because I'm making an Italian type bread. You take your oregano, you smash it down. Don't be afraid to let out a little hostility if you have it. Bang it, slam it. Your bread wants to be kneaded. It wants to be shaped. So then you take it, you shape it into the loaf style that you want. You could use a regular loaf pan, or you could just go with this style here, free fall. Excuse me 1 second. Gotta love yeast, you really do. Okay, now you take your cookie sheet. You add a little bit of your olive oil to it. Make it a little bit, just a little bit that way. Now, you take your bread, you put it on the cookie sheet, you get a clean cloth, you cover it up, and you put it in a cool, in the summertime, but not here. You want to stick it someplace where it's going to be warm and it can rise for an hour. Because we're in Idaho and it's 12 degrees today, I put my oven on warm so that it'll just be a nice place for this to rise. And after an hour, it should double in size. We'll see you in an hour. And now, with the magic of television, it's been an hour. This is my second beer. And we're going to check and see if it is risen. So, we'll grab our pan and we will check it. Now, as you can tell, it has risen. So, what you have to do now is, they call it punching it down. And what it really means is you kind of reshape it again, and you can move it around, you can twist it. I like to do it like this because I want a good French looking type baguette. Even though it's more Italian style, I like it like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to swing it around a little. Woohoo! Beer helps, I'm telling you. You just get so you get a little bit more creative. Okay, so you take it, you punch it down, and this is the last time you let it rise before you actually bake it. So because I do it like that, what I'll do is I have a little bit of melted butter here, already prepared, and a little pastry brush. So you kind of throw on a little butter, just kind of coat it a little. And this time, because I use rapid yeast, I could technically put this in the oven, but I think it gives it a better flavor if you let it rise again. So I'm using my trusty little cloth again, and I'm going to set it back over here. I'm going to let it rise and double once more, and then it should be almost done. In 1 hour, you'll be ready, okay? So I'll see you again. Hi, we're back from our hour waiting for the bread to rise again. A little more beer, a little more time, and our bread should be ready. So let's take the dough again, and this time we don't want to punch it down. We just want to leave it alone. Maybe we add a little bit more butter to it for the cooking process, and it's in. Now, when you bake it in the oven, a lot of recipes say 425 for 35, 40 minutes. I find in my oven 405 for about 15 to 20 minutes. When we take it out, we're going to want to make sure that it's golden brown and you can knock on it and you can hear the little knock. So anyway, I'm going to stick it in the oven now at 405 in a preheated oven for 15 to 20 minutes depending on how brown it gets. So here we go. It is in. So now we wait 15 or 20 minutes more. Welcome back. It's been 20 minutes. Now we're gonna take our bread out of the oven and see what we got. Okay, here we go. Now, what I do is, you want to take your remnant of your melted butter and just kind of put on some more butter. Now, my shape is a little bit different than you might like. You can have whatever shape you want to, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in half, and I'm going to have meatballs in here, and it's going to be really, really good. So, I hope you've enjoyed making bread with me. I'm going to open a little piece just so you can see what it looks like. And it is pretty hot, so we'll just have to cut very carefully. And now we're ready for some delicious bread. I hope you enjoy it. And don't forget, if you make bread, enjoy some beer with it, because it's both yeast. Have a good day.